Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're gonna watch Monster episode 27. Which title thereof is Pieces of Evidence. Welcome back to the Johan show. The show gonna be crazy, it's gonna go wild, so strap in, and hopefully Carl and Lotte are gonna get out of this in one piece. But yeah, without any further ado, I'm actually just gonna jump right in. No pre-discussion, no nothing. We talked about it last time. We talked about how insane Johan is, but I don't know enough about him yet to actually say anything. At least we know a lot more about him at this point in time. And it's truly fascinating to now experience this from a first-person perspective for the first time, how he does his craft, how he does his stuff. A detective is on their heels, also interesting. Let's actually get this party started. Monster episode 27 starts right now in 3, a 2, a 1, a bam. Cafe, extra blood. Okay, extra blood is newspaper. Alright, so we have a detective dude. Wife and children, maybe. Estranged, it seems. He's not answering. I mean, that's okay. She's very cold, right? There's a lot of wounds. It's like distancing herself emotionally, I guess. At least if they had something before and it seemed like that, right? It seems like she's the wife or whatever. I love the reflection in the... Oh no, don't like... This is the trigger. Don't go for the alcohol, my dude. Not gonna be good for you. Don't... Oh, good. He has the control. Alright. This is really hard if something like this is like present in everyday life. Like for example, like normal drugs, such as like the harder drugs, they're harder to get, so you won't be meeting them all the time. But if you're an alcoholic, every bar, every restaurant, same with like cigarettes, everywhere somebody's smoking, so it's everywhere. So you're constantly tempted, especially if you're still on in that like withdrawal phase, or if there's stuff that's going on in your life that's stressing you out. Proof. Okay, that's the official name.
ヒャルト。
は
あんたここに何しに来てると思ってるんだ。私のカウンセリングを受けに来てるんだぞ。
Yeah, this is counseling.
私は占い師じゃないと言ってるだろうが。
クライエントとの長年にわたる面接の成果でしょ。
何者だその青年。
第一発見者ですよ。この男が例のファーレンの死体を最初に見つけたんです。
Yeah.
ただの友人ということになってますがね。
なあリヒャルト。
は？
仕事もいいが少しリラックスする時間も必要だぞ。
Yeah. Take care of yourself, right?
ならいいがな。
実はね、先生。
なんだ？
娘に会えるかもしれないんですよ。
Might be.
そりゃ楽しみだな。ただし、あっても失ったものは取り戻せない。それだけは肝に銘じておくんだぞ。
Yeah, don't set your expectations too high.
があっても酒にだけは手を出すな。いいな。
ご心配なく。
これからまた仕事かね。
It's interesting because he's doing counseling, which means he's not in official therapy.
真正面から向き合わないかね。
もちろんです。彼は17歳。連続殺人犯。私は彼を撃ち殺しました。
And killed a 16-year-old.
酒に酔っ払ってね。
And he was drunk, which is additionally a problem. Even if he was a serial killer, right?
そこから前へ進むことだ。でしょ？
よろしい。なかなかいい生徒だ。
100点満点ですか。
バカいい。私はそう簡単に満点なんか出さん。だいたい100点満点の人間なんてなつまらんもんだ。
Yeah, you can't help them because they already helped themselves, right? Ooh. Hey, he is under pressure. He's jumpy too. Oh, this is hard. Okay. He might be having some actual PTSD, right? This is what it feels like. Like a stimulus as a trigger and you start to get anxious and suddenly you're having actual vivid flashbacks. That is like textbook PTSD. And all of the advertisements everywhere, it's everywhere, it's readily available. Helps him to work, it distracts him.
これが事実かどうかはまだ判明していない。ただし、この青年は事件の何か。はい。
リヒャルトさん、掃除済んだので、私はこれで。
ああ、いつもご苦労様。
苦労なんかありゃしないよ。男の一人暮らしでこんなに綺麗にしてるなんて、なかなかできることじゃないよ。
いや、以前はそれはひどいもんだったんですよ。
娘さんの写真、新しいのが増えたね。
ええ、もうじき会えるんですよ。
あらま、そりゃあよかったね。娘さん喜ぶよ。
そうでしょうか。
当たり前だよ。親に会って嬉しくない娘なんていやしないよ。
That depends on the memories she has of him, right? Maybe she doesn't have any at all, that's possible too.
なぜお前はシューバルト本人に息子だと名乗り出ない？お前も詐欺師なのか？それ
Funny how we're always the crows in the trees, right? I love these shots. Interesting how he's putting himself in the shoes of the parent, but maybe not the child. I guess she's coming and saying she doesn't want to see him. Wonder if she decided that on her own. It's hard, right, to deal when your expectations are being constantly betrayed. Like you try putting your best foot forward, you're trying your best effort, and it's not getting rewarded. But nobody is like responsible for that, right? We all have our own reasons and stuff that's happening. But this is stressing him out constantly, and there's a lot of pressure on him. This is hard. Is he gonna do it? Or is he gonna reject it last moment? Left it. Alright. Not easy. But he's really trying. Did he tell that part to Johan? That is very interesting. That would be very interesting to know. If Johan knows about that or not.
Johan Deepening です。
ヨハンか。彼は完璧だ。ラテン語だけではない。法学も経済学も、いや、すべてのことに完成された哲学を持っている。
It's very intelligent, very studious.
完成された青年だよ。
シューバルトさん。彼のような青年が、彼が実の息子だとしたらどうですか？
He's indirectly trying to get to know what he values in a son.
笑ったんだ。シューバルトが笑ったんだよ。 どうやら彼にとって君が息子としてふさわしいらしいよ。正直言って嫉妬したよ。僕より君の方が優れているのは明らかなのに、嫉妬している自分が嫌になったよ。
He's telling him so much.
シューバルトに君が本当の息子だって名乗り出るのさ。
よしてくれ。僕は花からそんなつもりはないと言ってるだろう。もし名乗り出たとしても彼は信じやしない。それどころか彼の財産に群がるハイエナの中の一匹くらいにしか見ないだろう。そんなのごめんだ。
Is he playing the long con?
人生を送って死んでいったか、僕がどんな思いでここまで生きてきたのか、それを知りもしないで彼にそんな風に思われるなんてごめんだ。
だから名乗り出るんじゃないか。本当のことをすべて彼に分かってもらうんだ。
彼は何も信じやしない。
信じざるを得ない何かがあるはずさ。
No, don't tell him. Don't tell
息
him.
子であると彼が信じる何か
Don't tell him.
そんなもの
が思い出してごらんよ。あるはずさ。
ないって言ってるだろう。僕は名乗り出るつもりはないんだ。
じゃあなぜ君は僕にこうしてラテン語を習ってるんだい？
He wants to be close to him anyway.
彼に喜んでもらいたいから。彼に
I mean, maybe you do.
やめようと思うんだ。彼のところで朗読するアルバイト。もうやめるよ。
Ooh. That's not what he wanted. That's not what Johan wanted. Guess he call us a hard nut to crack.
実は証明するものを。
Bro, your last moment.
何を？
でもそんなものを突きつけて彼に実の息子だと迫る気はない。
Even if you don't tell him, he knows now.
決心したんだ。その時僕は。
そうか。その決心が揺るがないように、その証拠品は僕が預かっていた方がいい。
And that's how we can prove he is his son. Too easy, Carl. Too easy.
ちゃんと食べてるかしらって心配してたのよ。
いや、外食ばかりだと逆に太るから気をつけてるよ。
母さんの食事も太るぞ。
美味しいからね。
大学はどうだ？友達はできたか？
うん。何でも気兼ねなく話せるいい友達がね。
そうか、それが一番だ。
うまくいってるってカールの顔見ればわかるわ。
こうして勉強できることを感謝してます。
おいおい、なんだよ改まって。
今まで里親のもとを転々としてきたけど、お二人は本当に僕によくしてくれて。
お前がとても素晴らしい子だからだよ。
そうよカール。
本当にありがとう、リントナーさん。
もうリントナーさんというのはやめにしないか。私たちの養子になってくれる話受けてくれるかな。お前大学に入ってしばらくの間待ってくれと言っていたが、もうそろそろいいんじゃないかと思って。私たちはお前を信じてる。お前も私たちを信じてくれるだろ
う。もちろんです。
お前の本当のお父さんお母さんはどこかで生きているかもしれない。私たちはどうやっても本物になれないかもしれないが。
そんなことありません。お二人は本当の父さんと母さんですから。
乾杯だ。今日は特別高いワインだ。
はい。
あ、ちょっと君、ワインのメニューをくれないか。今日は特別なんだ。
And he's really happy with that decision, I guess. Or is he?
もしもし。
ノイマン君か。私だ。
シューバルトさん。
君がアルバイトを辞めるという話を伝え聞いたよ。
はい。
残念だよ。
買って言って申し訳ありません。
Hmm.
頑張ったな。よくあそこまでラテン語が上達した。
ありがとうございます。
本当に残念だ。本当に寂しくなるよ。最後にもう一度、よかったら何か読んで聞かせてくれないか。
はい。喜んで。アイオリスからレムノスへ第3節でいいですか？
ああ、いいな。
Right. Is he gonna hear something that's happening?
ポイポス神にすら死を望んでいるのではないか。ケルペロスのごとき息子ども娘どもの死を願うより他に何の楽しみがあろう。さあ、進めとゼウスはささやく。進め、進めと。暗き神々の神殿で舞い踊れ。海や大地や天界に住む有能の神々を。パルテニオンの頂よりカムパニアの禁断のリンゴを奪い、すべてここに来たりて我が心を求めるを。我が心を。
Who's coming in here? Ooh. Okay.
シューバルトさん、今の電話は。
見事だ。かつて聞いた中で最も心地よい朗読だった。なぜ今まで隠していた？
それは
確かにこれは私が君の母マルゴットに渡したウサギの足だ。
Johan gave it to him.
生まれてくる君に幸運をもたらすお守り。
What plans does he have with the two of them?
カール、辛い思いをさせた。
お父さん。
息子よ。
Hmm. And he was so convinced that he wouldn't believe it.
彼のおかげだ。彼が私に教えてくれた。
Yeah, what plans does he have with the two of them?
私の下で秘書として働いてくれることになった。
Okay, he's gotten in, the secretary.
できる青年だ。
He's gotten in. He didn't need to be the son. All he needed was to be somebody to be trusted, truly trusted. You don't have to kill people, right? And it's clear, like, we're clearly being played with here as the audience. We do believe that this is all threatening and this is what's happening, but he actually is just finding a way to get what he wants without ruffling feathers in this case. And if he would end everything with murder, he wouldn't have gotten as far as he is in life in general, right? Only at the very end it is revealed that you are in the end the monster, right? So this is very interesting. How, I mean, maybe other people were different, right? They didn't expect Johan to go down this path of possibly murdering one of the people involved or pretending to be this guy's son. But I did sure as hell expect that. Ooh. Our detective might be in real fucking trouble here. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about it, right? Let's play it through a little bit. Let me check something here. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't expect that. But it makes perfect sense, right? Johan is a master manipulator. He's very social, and if he would kill anybody who had ever anything to do with him, he wouldn't get far in life. At some point, like, the jig would be up. If it would kill, swindle, and whatever. Thing is, he's always playing the trusted advisor. He doesn't even need to be anybody's son or whatever. He doesn't need inheritance. What he needs is for people to believe that he is a person who is always going to do the right thing, right? That he is a person who is always going to be there for them, who they can unconditionally trust, because he had any opportunity here. He had any opportunity to use what Carl told him, pretend it's him, right? Use the item and say, like, I'm your son, whatever. He didn't do it, and by doing that, he proved to both Carl as well as how do you call him? I don't know, Schubert, that he is somebody to be trusted. And now he's gotten in on one of the most influential business people, even if retired, of all of, like, Bayern, or maybe even all of Germany in general. And here we have the second issue, right? The second thing, the second plot that is going on with our detective. And I feel like she's just, like, constantly looking at the time, and she's showing us with the way she's very unemotionally talking, and she's never really properly looking at him. She's clearly avoiding engaging with him. I don't know what happened between the two of them in the past. Maybe he got violent, or maybe he's just been, like, workaholic, alcoholic kind of deal. Maybe it's just too hard, or was just too hard for her to deal with, like, what he had in terms of, like, the panic and the PTSD and whatever was happening. But either way, she's not engaging with him. It's always, like, eyes down, not looking somebody in the eyes. Maybe she's afraid she would actually be too sympathetic, too empathetic with him, right? She would feel his pain too much if you looked him into the eyes, and then she would be weak again, and she would be like, all right, you know what? We're gonna make up. We're gonna try to make this happen. And this is why she's purposefully keeping, like, a distance between the two of them. She doesn't even give him, like, the photograph, like, hands it directly over to him. She slides it over and turns it upside down like it's some kind of business transaction. And she's like, I'll let her decide whether or not she'll see you. I do wonder if this was in the end, like, actually her making the decision or the daughter making the decision. Because it could be both. The reflection in the window is beautiful. And we do have that constant atmosphere, right? This constant presence of alcohol in the shots. And it's also because of perception, right? His perception is automatically drawn to this thing that he was probably a long time physically and psychologically addicted to. Because we're not just physically addicted to these things, we develop patterns of behavior. And oftentimes we do use these things like alcohol and whatnot to deal with the shit that we've been dealing with. And maybe there was something even before that incident where he shot that like 16-year-old serial killer, where there was some shit going on. And this is why he started drinking, right? Stress, family problems, right? All kinds of stuff. Or maybe just like the toll that the work takes on you if you're somebody like a detective that is mainly dealing with homicide. That's also something that can get you really, really stressed and depressed and anxious. Seeing dead bodies all the time, see what the worst of what humanity has to offer. And then you're trying to escape that, right? You're trying to just kill it, not think about it. And how can you do that? The substance, in this case alcohol. You do it, you feel better, right? You feel chill, you're having more fun, right? You're less forced to restrict yourself and restrict your emotions and all of that shit. You can just let it go. Obviously it has social consequences, but in the beginning that is not something you're thinking about, right? And as you get more used to it, more tolerance, more intoxicated at times, you're doing more and more shit that's socially bad for you, for your family, for all of the people around you, maybe even for your job in the end. And before you know it, it's too late. Your one coping mechanism, whenever something shit happens, whenever you're stressed, whenever anything is going wrong, your one coping mechanism is alcohol. The problem is after you're done with it, right? After you sobered up and you like joined whatever, right? Alcoholics Anonymous, whatever. And you stopped and you've been like cold turkey for a while and you're abstinent. Once you did, there's nothing that changed, right? I mean, obviously you're getting away from, you're getting rid of the physical addiction, but in the end, like the psychological mechanisms that we have, like the associations that, like the little connections that whenever we get like a visual cue, for example, or just an audio cue, or being in a certain environment or atmosphere, and suddenly it triggers this feeling, yeah, I want to drink, right? It's the same with people who smoke and quit smoking, and then they're like, I had my morning coffee, and then I was like, I really wanted to have a smoke, because this is what they normally do. They drink their morning coffee, that's their routine, then suddenly they have that smoke that they put between, right? They're on the balcony, they're relaxing, and they're connecting all of these things, like drinking coffee, which is cool, like reading the newspaper, like sitting on the balcony and relaxing, and all of that is associated with the habit. So it's very hard to change one bad habit of yours without changing all of the other habits that are, right, kind of just intertwined with it, right? Your routine, your daily routine, your life. This is why, for example, they did a couple of studies where it was like addiction to cocaine and whatnot. And they researched that for people who have been just normal ass people who have been addicted to cocaine, right, in the US. And then they also looked at US soldiers that were in Vietnam, and most of their addictive behavior and the brunt of their addiction and of their consumer behavior did happen in Vietnam. So they looked at soldiers that returned from Vietnam and looked at what if they had trouble actually getting rid of their addiction, and a lot of them didn't, because they were in a completely different environment, had a completely different routine. So they, like the fact that they were in a foreign country, had completely different day-to-day and whatnot, and that change when they actually came home completely eliminate or mostly eliminated their actual addiction to the substance. Which, insane, but this is how it works. But if this is present in everyday life, everywhere, right? Every restaurant, every bar, I said it earlier. This is a problem, because it constantly, whenever you're stressed, whenever you're vulnerable, this is when the urge hits you, especially when like you have it within your visuals, within your like the bar atmosphere or whatever, people talking, like the glasses kind of clinging and whatnot. You do have that, and it's firing, right? Your brain is like, please give me some, I need some, right? I can't stand this. This is how it happens. Great shot, right? She's looking down at him, she's out of focus, he is in focus. He's like, more coffee, please. That was the first one. The second one was him actually ordering alcohol, and he walked out. But how long is he gonna do that? Because he already took the next step. He already ordered it once. And he's getting counseling, which is interesting. I feel like, I don't know how it is back then, so it's possible that I'm misreading that, but these days counseling is mostly just private people, right? Private people, not even always licensed therapists, but just people who are, for example, psychologists and whatnot, and have a lot of knowledge on this stuff, but maybe aren't licensed. even they can do counseling. Counseling is more like a freeform version of that. And that isn't to say that the people that are doing that don't have the knowledge to do so. They just don't have the license, which oftentimes is like a lot of bureaucratic stuff or academic stuff, which is like, it doesn't necessarily mean that these people have less of an idea of what they're doing or what they're talking about, but oftentimes this is something where they're not, like, these people are not officially in therapy, but rather they're taking somebody who is coaching them in life and doing counseling and whatnot. Although I do see, like, I did see that we are actually in a therapy center, so he's probably a very, very good practiced clinical psychologist. So I would guess that. Right, you do also have to consider like the difference between coaching, counseling, and then therapy. And back in the day, maybe counseling and therapy was more of like one thing, and coaching wasn't even a thing back then. I guess it was a little bit, but not to that degree. And I do love how they display this, right? How everything just starts to creep in on him, right? Get taller and could just kind of overwhelm him. His vision gets blurry, and he starts seeing things, and this is PTSD in my opinion, because like this is some of the main criteria. First of all, you gotta have like a trauma, and possible trauma causes are very varied, but one of the main trauma causes can be combat, which is like something like gun related, right? Oftentimes like military and whatnot, but trauma can also be, for example, the constant like you being constantly exposed to murder and death and all of these things as a part of your job. That is one of like the exceptions that is written these days, even in like the manual of psychological diseases, where we do have this special category where it's like, yeah, trauma can also be, right, also be in like the process of like experiencing these things over and over and over again within within your job, which is probably specifically an extra definition criteria that was added due to people working in homicide or working as first aid responders or whatnot. They are often like just secondhand traumatized by things, which makes perfect sense. But yeah, he is having active flashbacks, right? He has visual and maybe even auditory hallucinations that has him reliving specific moments that he experienced in the past, which is the traumatic moment. Probably, I would assume this is like he doesn't look like 16, but I don't know. I assume this is like the 16-year-old serial killer that he killed. And maybe it was justified, right? Maybe it was actual self-defense, but it doesn't change the fact that he was on duty and drunk. And he killed somebody who's 16. So this is all critical stuff. Even if he wasn't guilty of anything, if he did the correct thing in that specific instance. All that sweat, all of that stuff. And he's constantly done like that swallowing thing. I do love that they have such a great job of like representing like the architecture that you see in Germany or in Europe in general. It's beautiful. I mean, a lot of these in interior environments obviously look a very, very old-timey to me, because I'm living in the modern times and stuff looks different, but it makes perfect sense to be like upper class, older furniture and right, like I can very well buy this being in the 90s and whatnot, and just being a normal environment. And even like the people, so me, hello. And even like the people, right? Like a nice old lady or older lady who's actually doing the cleaning for you because she's probably, this is an extra job for her. And maybe she's even retired and she's doing that to get like an extra buck. That's possible. Or maybe she's like having to do one more job just to, or she wants to. That's also a possibility, especially during these times. There was like a lot of women which were like, I want to work a little bit. Something important for them, right? Gives them gives them that structure. Work is good as well. It's not just bad. I mean, work is exhausting. Work can be terrible, stressful and whatnot, but work can also give you structure. There's like a lot of studies that were done in financially hard times, where, for example, like you have cases in Germany where entire towns fell out of work because a business was just collapsing on itself, right? Like a business branch. And then the people, like a lot of the people of that town, a lot of the inhabitants of that town were didn't have any work, right? And then there were actually psychologists and researchers that did do long time studies to see what happens to those people, and the loss of routine can be terrible for your like mental health, for all of these things if you've been used to it before that. Yeah, he's talking about his hopes and aspirations and all of that. I do love, I said that before, how are we always the crow? It's very interesting, and I love these shots through the tree branches. It looks amazing. It gives you an amazing feeling in terms of like how it works. Yeah, and when he's getting pictures like that, it means he probably hasn't seen her for a while. And then he's getting his hopes up. And then they're gonna be crushed. And she's not even looking at him. It's insane. Why is she not looking at him? I don't have time, right? She didn't want to see you. Maybe it's just, maybe I'm kind of judging her too hard. Maybe it's just her being like, I don't want to see him being hurt from what I have to say him, right? What I have to tell him, that our daughter doesn't want to see him. Possible, right? 100% possible. But it's also possible that she's just trying to not look him in the eye because she decided that she didn't want her daughter to see him. Yeah, can happen too. And in the end, like your children grow up and they're like, why was I never able to see my father? And then the mother is like, he isn't good for you. And you're like, why can I not decide that? I mean, in some cases might be justified if he's like aggressive and like nasty or whatever, but this guy's trying. So maybe with time, if he doesn't die. I mean, he's involved with Johan, so you never know. But yeah, taking away from this, like, we've talked about this long enough. I think it is crazy. We don't know what Johan's spiel is here. He's getting himself into the position as like the secretary and whatnot. But we do see how his manipulation works, right? It doesn't matter if in this case he's actually not killing somebody or really getting in on it and getting rid of the people that are not, like, that don't fit into his scheme. It doesn't matter because we do know how he's doing it. We can infer how he's doing it in other cases where he actually murders people or where he actually gets people to murder other people. How he's doing it is how we, like, this is what we learn here, even if he's not doing it in this specific case, at least not yet. And it's also re-emphasizing to us, hey, don't immediately assume, right? This is not like, Johan is not like some crook, straightforward, I'm gonna kill you immediately, whatever, right? Johan is more refined than a Roberto that we've seen like in a couple of episodes ago. He's so much more than him. So, yeah. I don't know if I have enough space for another episode, so we're gonna end it here. That was Monster episode 27. Very interesting, very fascinating. It keeps being really, really cool. And we get more and more in Johan, which I am always excited about, right? Right. If you like this, leave me a like, subscribe to the channel and all of that. I know some of you are just like saving them up and binging them. That's cool too, right? I'll be seeing you whenever you're actually gonna watch this. And I'll be seeing you next time for episode 28, probably.